Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to Places Please, Richard's Theatre Podcast, Galway Theatre Festival edition. What a crazy 2 weeks this has been. I've had the opportunity to go see some shows. I've got a chance to talk to some amazing artists, and it has just been bonkers. And I'm so grateful to be able to live in a city where I can do all those lovely things. I hope you're well. I hope that you're enjoying the podcast. I know that I've been throwing out a lot of episodes, so you might be catching up. But each one's so different. And I've just really, really enjoyed making every single one, especially this one. So my guest today is Emer Lyons. Their play, Rooms, is featuring at the Galway Theatre Festival and it is sold out. So you could try and get tickets on the door. But when we shot this, it wasn't sold out, and now it is. So they kind of talk about the process and like emigrating, going back to Ireland and the effect it had on their work. So I want you to sit back, relax and enjoy this lovely conversation with Emer Lyons. Hello, Emer.
Hello.
Welcome to the podcast. Could you maybe give my audience an idea of who you are and what show you have at the Galway Theatre Festival this year?
Yes, well, I'm Emer. I suppose the most important thing about me is that I'm from Cork, but I live in Galway. I lived in New Zealand for almost 12 years. I came back to Ireland in 2023. And I'm a poet, a performer, and a playwright and a fiction writer. And so I have a novella coming out in 2028. And I was in an anthology of poetry last year by Daedalus called Beginnings Over and Over. And I had a play in Seen and Heard last year called Parts Whole. Rooms, that is in the Galway Theatre Festival this year, came about as part of a script development course that I won a place on last year with Katrina Daly. And that was through the Irish Theatre Institute and the Galway City and County Council. And so I wrote the first draft of Rooms there. And what's really special about that is that Rena Bryson was also in the playwriting group and now is a star in the show. So it's fab.
Very good.
Yeah.
So did you meet there?
We knew each other beforehand, but then I think once Rooms got accepted into the Galway Theatre Festival, I knew straight away I wanted Rena to be in it. And so I was delighted when she said yes. And also Caught Dwyer, who's exceptional. And I knew straight away I wanted both of them to be in it. And I guess as we all know, as theatre makers, and I'm usually in things myself, not always because I want to, but it's like a funding or an accessibility thing or whatever, and so I'm usually in it. And this one, Rooms, is quite has borrowed very heavily from my own life, and it's one that I really didn't feel able to be in. So I'm very glad to have it as part of a festival that provides financial support for artists. And I also got a bursary from the Galway City Council as well to be able to pay the actors, and my intimacy coordinator and movement coach Gavin Friel. So that's fantastic. And my photographer Amy Stout. So I've got a great team.
Okay, that's amazing. There's so much there in terms of it's great that opportunity came up for you. Yes. How has the process been, taking a step away of being not in it, but getting to then watch from the outside and kind of discuss that with the actors and things like that?
I think for the first time on Friday, we had a rehearsal on Friday, and that was the first time looking at it that it was actually quite hard. So it was actually quite upsetting to watch it, whereas I hadn't felt that before. I had felt quite robust. And but I guess now we're at a stage where they know it quite well. They're really embodying it. And I guess then it's just I felt quite real. I was able to just look at them and watch them doing it, and that felt more real than it had up until this point. But I think I imagine and I hope that it will be a cathartic experience, to watch it with an audience, as a performer myself, I know I need an audience, to really feel something has reached its crescendo. And watching this with an audience, I think will be a really healing kind of a process to just share this experience with people. And I hope it speaks to people in that kind of a way, the way that I suppose that it spoke to me on Friday in a new way, Yeah.
Yeah. And it'd be different as well in front of an audience. It'll be a new kind of way of seeing it as well through
Yes.
other people's eyes too.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Do you want to give a synopsis maybe of what your play's about?
Sure. So Rooms is about a character called Bridget, and there's two actors in it. One actor plays Bridget at 21 and one plays Bridget at 35. And the show is about Bridget at 21 emigrating after the Celtic Tiger has receded and we were in a recession in like 2010, 2011. And then the other character is Bridget at 35 when she has returned back from emigrating. She's back in Ireland. And really the play is a question of how is trying to find a sense of place and belonging. So when Bridget left Ireland, she was kind of young and free and reckless and, like getting into relationships and doing, not thinking too much. But then all these memories start to flood back when she's 35, when she comes back to Ireland, that maybe she was able to stall when you're emigrated and you're living somewhere else, you can kind of distance yourself. When she comes back, those things come flooding back and she starts to question her life choices. And it's a play as well, like really deeply about queerness and about like social expectation and how that we can, as queer people, you can feel a sense of social expectation and also a sense of queer expectation. And you can feel like a real pressure living in the middle of those two worlds. And so like how that affects and impacts this character of Bridget as she kind of like remembers things from her life throughout the play, and they're played out between the two characters.
Wow. It sounds just so unique in its format. How did you come to the idea of having the same character kind of over a span of time? When did that idea pop into your head?
I'm going to say something really unoriginal, is that I was like obsessed with Fun Home. Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah, I
love Fun Home.
Fun Home. So actually the play had 3 characters at the beginning and one of them was 7. So yeah, I was like, oh, okay, you're basically writing Fun Home now. And so like I love that experience, when you read a script and then you're just totally obsessed with it. So I have it like I had like a number of scripts that were like a huge part of it. One was Fun Home. One was the play script adaptation of Virginia Woolf's The Hours, which I've only read the script of, I've never seen, and Kay Tempest's Wasted, which is from like a good few years ago. And in Tempest's work, there is a chorus. And in Fun Home, there was like these characters, like they were all the same character at different ages. And in The Hours, it was multiple characters playing multiple characters. So like I loved that kind of idea of all those things coming together. And I guess that's how I ended up with Rooms as it stands now, because of I also read a ton of Duncan Macmillan. I was like deeply influenced by all those things. But yeah, I think the main premise is definitely Fun Home. I mean, that had a huge, massive impact on me when I read that graphic novel. And then like when it was turned into a stage show, then I think I love things that go through different iterations, and like Rooms did. It was one kind of a thing, and like in the play script, there are some things that started or have another life, like are published as short stories, or there are elements of my poetry are in there, and I stole like from myself, I guess, like plagiarized myself, to like bring those elements out more in a dialogue kind of setting. I mean, dialogue is such an Irish thing, is such a beautiful craft that I think like Irish playwrights really like, you can really hone in on that, because we have such an unusual way of speaking. Like in other forms that doesn't come out as much. So like in the poems or in the short story, it maybe I didn't really get there. And I really felt like, the play was like one of the best forms for this, like a play script.
Yeah. I saw Fun Home on Broadway, the original cast. Yeah.
Pick up Robin Hood.
But no, I actually saw it. I saw the show by accident because I wanted to see Hamilton, and then I couldn't get tickets because it was like $300. It just opened, and then the guy was like, "Do you want to see this show in Circle in the Square called Fun Home? It's closing soon, and there's $20 tickets." And I was like, "Let me the very back," but it was in the round, so like I was sitting like 4 rows from the front.
Yes.
And it was just spectacular. It was.
Oh my God! Like I actually got shivers. You about your memory. I was like, oh my God! I think I love things as well that are in the round. Like because it's such a challenge for an actor. I also like watched People, Places and Things on the National Theatre as well. The National Theatre at home has been a godsend. And it's like £11 a month or something. If you want, like, you can sign up for just 1 month and then watch like 6 million
loads.
plays, and then, like, move on with your life. But like, that has been such a godsend. I think, like, there's nothing like experiencing it, but this is like giving us access to experience plays that, like, we can't afford or don't have access to or can't see. But actually, I think sometimes I think about that, like not having access to theatre. And then you have things like the Galway Theatre Festival, where literally I have tickets to like 12 shows for under like €200. Like, it's insane. The accessibility level of this festival is wild. That you can spend like 9-10 days seeing theatre that is such high quality, like every single day. Because I was applying for something recently and they were asking about, like, name a piece of international theatre that you've seen. And I realised that in the last few years, I haven't seen international theatre. Like, I've consumed solely Irish theatre or local theatre because it's at such an incredible level. It's like professional, touring, high scale theatre. Like, I don't feel any need to go looking for other stuff because it's like right here on our doorstep. And it's a phenomenon, and it just feels like such a gift. And then to see all your friends, like, also in the theatre festival, it's just the coolest thing in the world. It's awesome, and I can't wait for it to kick off on Thursday.
I loved the brochure. I went through and I was kind of like, okay, I love this. I've seen some of the shows as well this time, which that's never happened before because I've reviewed a few of them.
Yeah.
And I was like, I love that, love that, love that.
Yes.
And it's just every time you turned a page, there was an important story that needs to be told from a number of different voices that I think is really important as well. Why do you think people should come see your play?
I think people should come see Rooms. I think the main thing that I want people to come is because it's trying to tell, like, a story about like darker subject matter, like that is like about abuse and memory and even abortion. Like, the heavy themes come up in the play, but they're dealt with in this real Irish way, where it's like almost like daily, like it's kind of like casually spoken about or not spoken about. And I think I want people to come and see Rooms to hopefully think like, oh, we're maybe moving beyond this way of communicating as Irish people. Maybe we won't talk like that anymore. Like, we won't hide as much, or we won't be as secretive, or we won't have the Republic of the Family. That no longer is going to be a thing. I think this play should be like a sign of that, a signpost for like, oh, like, even in this short space of time, like, Ireland is or has or will move on from that culture of silence. Like, is why I want people to come to Rooms.
I'm so intrigued by this. I'm looking forward to seeing it.
Yay!
Can you maybe tell my audience where it's on, when it's on, and how they can get tickets?
Yes. So it's on in Burgos, and it's on the 9th of May, and it's on at either 3:00 or 5:30. And it's about 40 minutes. And you can get tickets at galwaytheatrefestival.com.
Amazing. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast. I really appreciate it. I know you're so busy with your show, and wishing you the very best of luck as you get ready for it.
Thank you, Richard. This has been lovely. Thank you.
You've been listening to Places Please, Richard's Theatre Podcast, hosted by me, Richard Brown. Audio engineering and editing by Connor Gill. Stay tuned for a sneak peek of our next episode.
And one thing I will say, and I'm sure Jenny said something like this as well, is that the kind of redemptive power of art is really incredible. Really, it's so incredible to me that I can, obviously I felt it when I was writing the things because it was really helping me get through it. But I became kind of very enriched, and I started to kind of open up to people. And in a way, I might have thought, oh, I don't want to talk to that person because they're not like me or whatever. And I found that gradually, it's like being in a war, I suppose, or a time of crisis. And people, and it was writing the things, I started, why is he doing that? Why is that happening? Etc. And I just think it's amazing. And that's continued to happen, which is amazing. So as we've been working on it, I feel like it's still evolving.